In the high-stakes world of the NFL, a massive signing bonus is often viewed as the final destination for financial security. But for many stars, that windfall is just the beginning of a dangerous game, where the opponents aren't on the other side of the line of scrimmage, but in the boardroom and the bank. While we marvel at the athletic prowess that secures these multi-million-dollar contracts, we rarely see the rapid evaporation of those fortunes when the locker room doors close for the last time. From Pro Bowlers who fell into the trap of lavish lifestyle inflation to superstars who saw their wealth consumed by mounting child support and poor business decisions, the reality of NFL wealth is often as fleeting as a missed field goal. It is a sobering look at how even the most celebrated gridiron icons can be humbled by the unforgiving laws of finance, proving that the skills needed to win a championship are rarely the same ones required to preserve a legacy. These stories serve as a vital lesson. The NFL is a meritocracy for talent, but the financial world is a cold, calculated arena where greatness on the field counts for nothing if your off-field game plan is fundamentally broken. Travis Henry's financial collapse is a textbook example of how personal life complications can dismantle a professional athlete's fortune. During his NFL career, Henry earned significant sums, including a 5-year, $25 million contract from the Denver Broncos. However, his wealth was rapidly siphoned off by staggering, multifaceted child support obligations for his 11 children by 10 different mothers across 4 states. At the peak of his legal troubles, he was estimated to owe $170,000 annually in support payments alone, a sum that became impossible to manage once his NFL income evaporated. Henry's situation was compounded by severe legal issues, including an indictment for cocaine trafficking, which led to house arrest and drained his remaining liquid assets in legal fees and lost opportunities. Henry famously admitted that he was an idiot to trust those around him, claiming he was frequently trapped into unplanned pregnancies. Yet he acknowledged that his status as an NFL star made him a lightning rod for such disputes. He eventually faced jail time for falling over $16,000 behind on support payments in his hometown of Frostproof, Florida. By the time he was out of the league, he was virtually broke, famously telling reporters that he had lost everything in the mess he created. His story is a jarring reminder that a massive NFL salary cannot withstand the compounding pressure of unfunded personal liabilities and a lack of foresight regarding the long-term reality of his private life. Andre Bad Moon Rison, was one of the most electric wide receivers of the 1990s, but his time in the spotlight was matched by an equally intense commitment to reckless spending. Rison's financial downfall was rooted in a culture of keeping up appearances that transcended logic. He was known to spend tens of thousands of dollars on single weekends, famously dropping $1 million on jewelry alone during his playing career. His entourage was notoriously extensive, and he often treated his entire social circle to expensive nights out at clubs, luxury travel, and extravagant, unnecessary gifts. Rison later admitted that he often had no idea where his money was going, as his lifestyle inflation, fueled by a sense of invincibility, quickly outpaced his significant professional earnings. His financial problems were exacerbated by persistent legal battles. By 2007, just years after his retirement, he faced involuntary bankruptcy petitions filed by creditors, including a claim for $435 from his ex-wife for unpaid child support and additional thousands in legal fees. Problems with child support and financial mismanagement dogged him for years, even landing him in jail for nearly a month in 2004. Rison's journey is a classic tragedy of a superstar who felt his wealth was inexhaustible, eventually finding that the bad moon rising over his finances left him scrambling for roles in reality TV and minor film projects just to keep his head above water. His case proves that no amount of talent can compensate for a lack of basic financial discipline. Chris McAllister was a shutdown cornerback for the Baltimore Ravens, securing a massive 6-year, $55 million contract that should have guaranteed him a lifetime of elite comfort. Instead, his post-football life became a stark illustration of financial fragility. Following a tumultuous divorce and a series of personal setbacks, McAllister's financial situation eroded entirely. By 2011, court records made public by TMZ revealed that the former defensive star was unable to keep up with an $11,000 a month child support payment. In a dramatic fall from grace, he had to petition the court to lower his obligations, candidly admitting in legal documents that he was living with his parents and relying entirely on their financial support to cover his basic daily expenses. The transition for McAllister was visceral. He went from being the highest-paid defensive presence on a Super Bowl winning team to filing for bankruptcy as his creditors closed in. His story resonates as a warning about the illusion of wealth, where a player assumes their current paycheck is the baseline for all future earnings. When the career stops, the debt does not, and McAllister's reliance on his parents highlights how quickly an NFL fortune can vanish when it is not diversified or protected by a professional financial buffer. For McAllister, the lack of an exit strategy meant that his career-ending injury or release was not just the end of a job, but the end of a lifestyle he had completely overextended himself to maintain. Vince Young. Vince Young's financial demise is perhaps the most famous cautionary tale of the modern NFL. Despite signing a $25 million guaranteed contract as a rookie, his spending was defined by an utter lack of budget control. He became the face of indulgent spending, famously racking up a $5,000 weekly bill at the Cheesecake Factory often by treating his entire offensive line to high-end meals, pricey cocktails, and expensive cognac for everyone in his vicinity. His generosity was out of control. He bought out entire flights on Southwest Airlines just to ensure he didn't have to sit next to other passengers, a move that cost him thousands of dollars per trip. Beyond his personal spending, Young fell victim to predatory financial stewards. He later discovered that advisors and even family members had forged his signature on millions of dollars in loans for business ventures like production companies that he knew nothing about. By the time he combed through his financial records with his legal team, he found that over $600,000 had been funneled into businesses he had never authorized. When he eventually filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2014, he had to liquidate his assets, including his home, to satisfy debts that ranged between $1 million and $10 million. His case illustrates the danger of handing over the keys to people you trust without verification, and how even a multimillionaire can be brought to their knees by a combination of personal immaturity and external financial exploitation. Elliss, a former first-round pick and Pro Bowler for the Detroit Lions, earned nearly $12 million during his career. Yet he ended up in a position where he had to rely on local church charity to survive. His collapse was driven by a classic athlete's trap: aggressive, high-risk real estate investments and failed business ventures. Elliss personally guaranteed massive loans for commercial properties that plummeted in value during the 2008 financial crisis. Because he had signed for these debts personally, he remained liable even when the projects failed, leaving him with millions in debt for assets that no longer generated income. In 2010, 6 years after his career ended, Elliss and his wife filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. They listed roughly $4.4 million in liabilities against their assets, including over $37,000 in delinquent taxes, which became a crushing weight for a family raising 12 children. Elliss eventually lost his primary residence in Oakland Township to foreclosure and was forced to auction off his personal treasures, including his retirement assets, to pay down his mounting debt. His story is notable for its brutal honesty. Elliss has since dedicated his post-football life to teaching rookies at the NFL's annual symposium about his mistakes, admitting that his demise came because of pride, a refusal to admit he didn't understand the complex financial world he had entered. His transition from a beloved community leader to a man relying on others for help is a powerful, humble testament to the necessity of financial humility. The stadium lights eventually fade, and for these legends, the challenge of maintaining their hard-earned wealth proved far more difficult than any defense they faced on Sunday. These stories aren't just about losing money, they are about the fragility of a life built on the assumption that the checks will never stop coming. The transition into the real world is a ruthless game of its own, one where lifestyle inflation, family obligations, and reckless spending can become the ultimate liabilities. Which of these financial disasters do you find the most alarming? Tell us in the comments, hit that like button if you appreciate these deep dives, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next look into the hidden and often tragic side of professional sports.